Okay, so remember on the test, you will be asked questions like this. So if you're given 15 to 30 as a ratio, what's that as a decimal? So you simply have to just divide the two numbers. So 15 divided by 50, what do you get? Zelda? 0.3. Okay, what is that as a percent, Miriam? 30%. Okay, so not 3%, but 30. You always times by 100. And as a fraction, Marina, I'm just going around the class. If you don't want to say anything, you can say pass. But classroom participation. Okay. And as a fraction, 3 over 10. Good job. So it's 30 over 100, but you can reduce this down to 3 over 10. Right? On the test, make sure you reduce to the lowest form. Right? Alex, 0.125. To go from a decimal to percent, what would you have to do? Oh yeah, good. Okay, so 1 over 8. Yeah, so as a fraction, it's 1 over 8. Daniels. So how do you go from a decimal to a percent? Yeah, that's it. Times by 100. And so you get 12.5%. You can have a decimal percentage. Okay? And Sakina, as a ratio? Pass, okay. Diana? Okay, so usually with ratios, we don't have decimals in ratios. So if you know the fraction, so you would actually just do you can do the reduced, so you can just do the 1 to 8, like this. Okay. Your fraction and ratio, it's the same numbers, right? So 1 to 8. So how Alex got that fraction 1 over 8 is because he did 125 over 1,000. And then when he reduced it, that's how he got that 1 over 8. Okay. Why 1,000? Because there's 3 decimal places. So that's why you put it as 125 over 1,000. If there were 4 decimal places, then you would put it over 10,000 and so forth. Okay, Isabel, this row. Good. Okay, 8 to 100. If you simplify it, she got 4 to 50, but I'm thinking I could probably do one more step. Because both of these are even numbers. 2 to 25. Yeah. All right. So it's good that she reduced it, but it wasn't lowest form. So even though she reduced it, she would still lose that half mark. All right. So now that we know it's 2 to 25, what would our fraction be? Leanne? We have the numbers already, so we just have to put it over. Yeah, that's it. Right? It's equivalent. It's the same. Okay. And then 8% as a decimal. Sean, this to this, 8%. Perfect. 0.08. Okay. If you put 0.8, that's 80%. So make sure you don't get fooled. Okay. Zachary, 1 over 10. Yeah, you can tell me one answer. Good. 0.1. That's it. So 1 divided by 10, you'll get this. Austin, you can tell me either one. 10%. Good. Yeah. So from 0.1 times 100, you get 10%. And Ivy, the last one? 1 to 10. Good job. Okay. How many of you got all this correct? This chart, the whole chart. Okay, good. If you got this whole chart correct, you are guaranteed at least, I think, 5 marks on the test. Okay. Next. $75 was made in 3 hours. So how do you calculate the unit rate? So, Sean? Yep. Okay. Per. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Remember unit rate, unit rate, unit rate. I have to see both units. It's a combination of 2 units put together. So make sure I see the dollar sign and the hour. If you just give me this, that's wrong. If you just give me this, that's wrong too. So make sure both units. Matthews, number 6. 555 divided by 5. Perfect. Okay, so again, your 2 units, kilometers and hour, both together. Okay, number 7, Jennifer? 5 pieces. Whoa, I totally spelled that wrong. 5 pieces per hour. Good. Bara? This one? Okay, why? Okay, because the cost is lower when you divide it. The unit cost is lower. We talked about it in the assignment. Why might you go somewhere else though? Even though it's more. So even though this is cheaper, why might you buy this one? Andre? So why might you still buy 7 bottles for $17.50, even though it's the more expensive one? Oh, what? Sorry? Oh, so this one was the cheaper one. But why might people still buy from this store? Yeah, overall it's only $17.50. I don't have so much. Yeah. Or you might be because I only need 7 bottles of drink for my team. I don't need 12 bottles. Okay, so uh, over you can say something like I only have 20 bucks. Okay, so those are all valid reasons you could give on the test. It could be convenience as well. Okay. This one, proportions. So I have a fraction equals another fraction with the unknown. So remember there are 2 methods. One, you can either just do the ratio method, or 2, you can do the cross multiply and divide method. So just a show of hands, how many of you like the ratio method? Okay. How many of you like the cross multiply and divide method? Okay, good. Yeah, I personally like the cross multiply and divide method more as well because it's straightforward, never fails. Okay, so Albert, what did you get for n? Good. Okay, and then when you divide it, n equals 30. Perfect. Isaac, number 10. I Number 10. This one. Yeah. So make sure you guys are paying attention. Suffer your necks.
I actually couldn't do this one.
Okay. So cross multiply and then divide. So you want to multiply the 2 numbers that are opposite to each other first. So 2.5 times 2.3. You get 5.75, and then you're going to divide it by the 3.6, and you get 1.5972, and so forth. The question does say what to round it to. So what would I round this number to? This is a tricky question. What would this round to? So which is? 1.6. Good job. Okay, so if you're thinking, isn't two decimal, this is one decimal, that's not two decimal, well, you can 1.60 if you want. Okay, but because two decimal place, that means I look at the third decimal. Since it's 5 and over, I have to round this up. So 1 more than 59 is 60. Okay, Aaron. Pass? Okay. Uh, all right, Sean. Yeah, Sean, number 11. Calculator. No, I don't think that's the right page. Okay. So tell me what to do. Cross multiply and divide. No, pass. All right, Kevin. Okay, but make sure you're paying attention though. All right, Isaac.
Um, the cross multiply you do 1.79
Uh-huh. And you get 13.34.
and then it's 1.7 divided by 13.34 equals 7.85.
Good. Okay. But when you say it, it's actually 13.34 divided by 1.7. Okay, so you get 7.85. Okay. Ira, number 12.
We're gonna like put the kilometers on the top,
Good.
like on the kilometers. So it's gonna be 235 kilometers, and then equal to 250 kilometers.
Okay.
And then underneath we're gonna write the liters of that. So it's gonna be 15 liters and n.
Perfect.
And then for that we're gonna multiply 275 with n. So equals 275 n. And we're gonna multiply 350 with 15, which equals 5250.
Good.
And then we're gonna divide 275 with it, and it will equal 19.1.
Yeah, awesome. So about 19.1. What's my unit?
It's gonna be liters.
Yeah, how much liters is needed. So just perfect. Very nice explanation. So the key to doing these word problems is you have to be consistent with your order. So as Ira said, you're going to do kilometers per liter, then you have to do kilometers on the top, liters on the bottom, kilometers on the top, liters on the bottom. So then when you cross multiply and divide, you'll get your answer in liters. Okay, number 13, Tanya. Okay, so let's work on it together. Would you put kilogram on the top or dollar in the top? Yeah, because money always comes first. Dollars per kilometer. So we're gonna put that 79.95 on the top and put the 12 on the bottom. Right? 20 kilograms. So should we put that on the top or bottom? Bottom. And then just put a n on the top. Cross multiply and divide. So 12 times n is 12n. 79.95 times 20 is 15.99. So Tanya, what do I do with this 12 now? Yeah, that's it. divided by 12. Oh, did I make a mistake? 15.99 divided by 12. 1.33. 1.33. What's my unit? Wait, I made a mistake somewhere. Yeah. So 79.95 times 20. Oh, something's wrong with my calculator. 79.95 times 20 is 1,005. Oops, I added in a decimal by accident. And then divided by 12, 133.25. And as Tanya said, my unit is dollars. Okay, so how did I know I got the wrong answer when I got $13? Yeah, it didn't make sense. Why not? Yeah, awesome. So when you do math, you always want to make sure your final answer makes sense. That's understanding the math and not just being a robot and doing the steps. So as Tanya said, if I had to pay $80 for 12 kilograms of cheese, if I want 20 kilograms, I'm gonna be paying more. So when I got $13, that didn't make sense. Okay, because I knew I was looking for an answer more than $80. Okay, good job. 14. So let's go over these ones really quickly. 35% of what number is 75? So 35%, what do I have to do to that? I have to change it to, yeah, a decimal. So it's 0.35. Off means what? Times, yeah. And 75 means 75. Okay, so 0.35 times 75, you get 26.25. Okay, so the question might sound weird and it looks weird, but that's all you have to do. And then what percent of 90 is 55? Okay, so you would again do 55 over 90 times 100% because they're asking for the percent. So 55 divided by 90 times 100, you get 61.1%. Right? A tent was purchased for $299.95. How much HST was charged? So how many percent HST do we have to pay? Did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
I did. Oh, yes. My bad. So 35% of something is 75. So number, it should have been n, and then is means equal. Yeah, so 0.35 times n equals 75. So I would actually have to divide it. 75 divided by 0.35, 214.29. Right? And yeah, so exactly what I was saying earlier. After I get an answer, I should look back to see if my answer makes sense. So 35% of a number that's bigger should give me equals 75. So uh, I was looking for a number bigger than 75. So good catch there. Thank you, Ira. Okay. So this one, HST. How many percent HST is charged? Yep, 13%. So 13% of $299.95. So 0.13 times 299.95. And by the way, when you do your calculation, I don't need these symbols. I don't need the units. Just your final answer is good enough. So 0.13 times 299.95. 30. Oh, I get this. How should I write my final answer then? Matthews? Like this? Full mark? Dollar sign, right? Right. So what is the total cost of the tent then? So that means I have to use this, add this, and to get my answer. Plus 38.99 equals 299.95 plus 38.99, 338.94. That's my final answer. How do I get from here to here in one step? What could I have done? Yep.
1.013 times there just times 1.1.
Right. So I could have just said this to get this answer in one step as well. For discount, let's say this tent was 60% off. How do I get the sale price? If it's 60% off?
0.6 times 299.95.
Okay, and then what do I do with that?
From that, you get the answer and then
subtract it. Right, so I could do that to get the discount and then subtract it. But what if I want to do it in one step to get the sale price? Yep. Times it by 0.4 to get the sale price. Good. Okay, so those are our little shortcuts. Okay, this one. Page 2. Okay, so a few more. 27% of 35 is what number? This is what you can do straightforward. So 0.27 of means times 35. 0.27 times 35, 9.45. Okay. What percent of 15 is 12? So 12 divided by 15 times 100%, you get 80%, right? Yeah, 80%. Okay. A family spent $250 on food, $80 on internet, $55 for phone. Write a ratio for each of the following. So with ratio, remember you're doing those colon. The amount spent on food to the cost of phone. So can we write that as a ratio, please? Yep.
250 to 55.
Perfect. And I do have to reduce this. What's common in 250 and 55? What number is common in them? Yep, 5. Good. So 250 divided by 5, I get 50. And 55 divided by 5, I get 11. So the ratio for this, 50 to 11. Cost of internet to cost of phone. So you're comparing this, with a colon in between. All right, so cost of internet was $80, and the cost of phone was 55. All right. Again, reduce it because otherwise you'll get half a mark off. 5 goes into both. So 80 divided by 5, 16 to 11. Okay. Total amount to internet. So how do I get the total? Laura? Yeah, add all of them. So 250 plus the 80 plus 55, 385 to cost of internet, which is $80. All right. Reduce it by 5 again. So you get 77 to 16. Okay. Okay, and then this one, which is the better buy. Unit cost. Remember, dollar divided by gram. Okay, so for number 6, which one was cheaper? Yeah, Ivy? The 100-gram one. Okay, so doesn't always mean more is less. Okay, so in this case, the smaller toothpaste was cheaper. Okay. Oh, these ones. A pole is 12.5 meter tall. It casts a shadow that is 4.75. Okay, so let's say height over shadow then. All right, so the first pole, 12.5 meters over 4.75. The second pole has a shadow of 2.5. So shadow of 2.5 means shadow goes in the bottom. And that's my x right there. Cross multiply, divide. So 12.5 times 2.5 divided by 4.75. X equals 6. I'm gonna do one decimal place because the question itself. Oh wait, this is 2 decimal place. So 5.6 actually. No, 6.58. Yeah, 6.58 meters. Okay. On the test, I will specify how many decimal place to round to. If I don't say it, you can just put up your hand to ask. Normally, it's based on the question. So if the question has 2 decimal place, then your final answer should also be 2 decimal place. Right, so that's the norm. Okay, last part question. Harina received a commission of 10.5% for selling shoes. She earned $96.75 in commission for one day. What was her total value of shoes she sold? Yeah.
10.5 over 100 times
Equals
96.75.
Good. So basically, you were asked 10.5% of something equals 96.75. Right? And you're looking for the value. So if I were to just translate this, it would be 10.5% of what is 96.75. So as we know, 10.5, we have to divide it by 100 to change it to a decimal. So 0.105 of means times, x means x, equals mean equal, no. So you divide it by 0.105. Okay. Later on, we will do more algebra like this. Reason why we're dividing is just like when we did the cross multiply and divide method. Since this is multiplication, when you move this number over, you do the opposite. So that's why we're dividing. But we'll do a lot more of these type of questions in the later chapter as well. So 96.75 divided by 0.105. You get $921.43. So she sold a lot of shoes. Right. And actually, that's a pretty high commission for selling shoes, 10% commission. Hey, Suffer, can you turn around, please? Mm-hmm. Okay, Omar drove a fan to Niagara Falls to Hamilton. Total distance was 78, and he used 4.2 liters of fuel. The next week, he drove to Niagara to Toronto, which is a total of 118 kilometers. How much fuel did he use? So, for all these places, does it really matter where he drove it to and from? No, all we care about are these numbers. All right, we have the 3 numbers. We're setting up our ratio. So 78 kilometers over 4.2 liters, 118 kilometers over something liters. Cross multiply, divide. So 4.2 times 118 divided by 78. So x equals 6.1 decimal place here. So I'll just round to 1 decimal place. 6.4. What's my unit? Bara? Peter. Okay. Last week, Herman worked 32 hours and earned 952. How much does he earn in 1 hour? Okay, so in other words, they're just asking you for the unit rate. So just divide it. 952 divided by 32. 29.75 per hour. Oh, that's where the 29.75 came from, Isaac. But we were on the other side. Okay. Last one, recipe. A recipe for chocolate chip cookie calls for it to have 45% of its mass as chocolate chip. A bag of cookies has a mass of 540 grams. What is the mass of chocolate chips? Right? What do we do in this one? Yeah, Sakina? Oh, sorry, I thought your hand was up. Okay, Diana? Yeah, that's it. So you're basically asked 44% of 540. All right, so change it to a percent, change it to a decimal, times, and then 540. So you get 237.6 grams are chocolate. Okay. So as you can see with this chapter, a lot of it is just multiplying and dividing, multiplying and dividing. The only trick I would say is like translating the word problems into a simple math equation. Right? So it doesn't have to be complicated. Just read the question first and then set it up accordingly. Okay, so notice for all of these, I just set it up the easiest way. I didn't try to make it fancy. I didn't try. All of it is just really multiplying and dividing. And that's because when you do ratios, it's always multiply or divide only. Don't add or subtract. Okay. Coding is also on your test. So let me show this as an example. Can I zoom this in? Oops. Okay, I can't zoom it in. Hopefully you guys can see it. Okay, so output, enter the first number. So notice the wording here is not the same as the handout that I gave you. Okay, but it's the same idea. Why I'm using different wording is because EQAO use different wordings every year. So, for example, this one, output, enter the first number. Right? So it's saying at the computer, when you press F1, it will ask you the question. So the computer is asking you enter the first number. So Zelda, give me a number. 6. Okay. So then the can I type? Can I type in this? Okay. So then store user input as first. So in other words, you're doing like something like set. Oh, I need it. Ugh. Okay, so in this example, they used the word store. For us, we were using the word set. I need to wait. Let me